Welcome to the 13th episode of 5P Podcast, the first international regenerative medicine and anti-aging podcast that will give you the tools to age with the greatest health, wellness, and appearance. It is directed by Professor Dr. Jaime Rodriguez Quintosa and Professor Dr. Deby Vinski. We are your hosts, Sandra Sola and Professor Carlos Galante.
We are at the headquarters of Jerry's Productions Web Smith Studios, the podcast accelerator that walks you through the steps to create a successful podcast from scratch. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at 5P Podcast to learn more about this topic. As you will know, we have with us the 5P Podcast Ambassador, Professor Dr. Deby Vinski, the Queen of Anti-Aging Medicine and President of the World Council for Preventive, Regenerative, and Anti-Aging Medicine, WOCPM. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much, Sandra, Sola, and Professor Carlos. And I'd like to welcome very beautiful Professor Dr. Elena Baranova from Monaco. Professor Baranova is a doctor in medicine and doctor in science, PhD, ATR, European Union Commission expert for genomics, for life science, biotechnology, health, and personalized medicine, President of European Institute in Personalized Prevention and Health in Monaco, President of World Council of Anti-Aging Medicine in Monaco, Monte Carlo, very active president. And I'd like to welcome you. And also Professor Elena Baranova is the board of WOCPM and vice president of WOCS in Geneva, Switzerland. She also qualified in pharmacoepidemiology, genetic, and clinical epidemiology through Harvard School programs. Welcome, Professor Elena Baranova. We like to start the podcast with the same question to all our guests. Why did you decide to dedicate yourself to anti-aging, preventive, and regenerative medicine? Please share with us.
Thank you, Deby. Thank you, everybody. Nice to meet you today. I would be happy to share you this very simple secret. Somehow I'm the result of genetic and epigenetic inheritance, as far as I represent the fifth generation of doctors, scientists, professors in my family. And for me, it's the destiny. Moreover, it's not simply the destiny. There is the major goal, how to bring science to practice, how to make work your genes for you and for us, how to make life more beautiful, enjoyable, active, and pleasant through health. As you know, without health, many things are impossible.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Yes.
Mm.
So, during your lecture at the first international conference in Bali in November 2023, you talked about from nutrigenomics to integrative anti-aging programs, Baranova Monaco personalized approach. Could you briefly explain what nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics are?
With pleasure. Nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics are born from so-called new genetics. This is the new vision of genetics as the result of World Health and World International Genome Project. As far as we know now that our genes are our friends and not only our enemies. And nutrigenetics, in simple words, is the story about how our genes are sensitive to nutrition. And nutrigenomics, it's the other way of the same coin, is how the food can influence the expression, or in simple words, the activity of our genes. So it's direct story how to make work your genes for you, how to drive the activity of our genes in the right direction. And you know what? The good news are that using nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics, we improve and we achieve up to extra 14 years of active and healthy life. So the span increases, but not simply the lifespan, but the span of active and healthy life.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what are the principles of gene regulation through nutrigenomics?
You know, the nature is very wise, and I love the citation of one Russian writer, Daniel Harms, who was saying, "You think the life is simple? No, it's more simple than you think." So the nature uses very comprehensive and simple principles. That's the story of nutrigenomics. Everything what enters into the body is roughly developed in two big groups. The inductors of gene activity, gene expression, so what activates our gene activity, and the inhibitors, what decreases the gene activity. And when you know your genetic profile, if you are before 35 years old, and even if you don't know your genetic profile, we still can influence your gene activity in the right, in most appropriate way. It's even more important after 35 years old, when globally the gene expression declines in everybody, and it brings to activation of aging processes. So, you know, through what enters into your body in terms of nutrition, we can influence every day, every morning, etc., the way how to express your genes, and finally how to express yourself in the most effective and positive way.
Wow.
As I'm lecturing a lot on this topic, I always ask my students, doctors, what do you have for breakfast? So usually from this we can see how you influence your genes, in which way. Is it positive for your health and gene expression or not?
And could you give us an example of how nutrigenetics can influence a person's diet?
Well, we do it every day when we eat. You know, there is a lot of information regarding smoking, drug usage, etc. But not everybody smokes or takes drugs or medications, but everybody eats. So it's the most powerful tool to influence our health in everyday life. So I'll give you the example. Let's take breakfast. Why not? You know, also it's morning here now in Europe, so we're talking. You have two persons in front of you. One person is taking a croissant with coffee, and automatically this person, it's so-called continental breakfast. I'm sorry in advance for continental breakfast. So in this way, we influence immediately sugar production and insulin production, which is not good for the morning at all, because it then activates glycation processes, etc., and finally aging processes. And coffee will induce so-called cytochrome genes, phase 1 of biotransformation, which produce finally more internal free radicals, which are toxic, making it simple. So this combination is not good. Well, I'm drinking coffee every day. So what's the way how to proceed correctly? You know,
Yeah.
Because I'm not here to say you stop coffee. And here there is a very interesting thing which come out. We can negotiate with our genes. Because as you understand, coffee is the inductor of cytochromes, phase 1 of biotransformation. And we have to balance it with something what is really good, what would be inhibitor of this source, or inductor of detox genes. And we have a choice, guys, and we have the excellent choice. And one of the most powerful inductors of detox genes, which balance cytochromes, one of the most, even not the most powerful inductor, is lycopene. And lycopene we have in apricots, in tomatoes, also in carrot in some quantities. And everything which is orange or red or like such very nice thing like strawberries. So giving you other example, if for your breakfast you take strawberries like this, like what you can handle in your hand, this quantity. This quantity of strawberries, you can still take your coffee, and to give you forces, please take, for example, the boiled egg, the soft boiled egg, not scrambled, which is very too fat, but like 2-3 minutes boiled egg, where we have all necessary fatty acids, proteins, and the fatty acids would be non-saturated in this way of preparation. You will have correct antioxidants like lycopene, which induce your detox capacities and balance your coffee, which is not that bad for the brain, as also quite a few studies demonstrate. So you can find your comfort and you can adopt your taste, your preferences, also to your genes.
That's a good tip.
And even more, even if you don't like strawberries, you don't like eggs or whatever, we always have the plan B. I don't know, should I tell about it now or should I tell about it later?
Please.
Because we will talk about
Yeah.
Please tell us now.
Tell us now.
But plan B, in particular for people like me who likes not to have breakfast at all. Sorry for dietologists and nutritionists, but for some people, and it's my case, it's not always good to take breakfast. The plan B is the functional food and food supplements. And we created the line of Baranova Monaco products, which are based on gene expression capacities, which are based on regulation, how to make our genes happy and our health in an excellent shape. So instead of eating strawberries or whatever, you can take just one capsule of Lycogene, our product, which has therapeutic concentration of necessary amount of lycopene and other active ingredients.
Wow.
Very good.
So this is our plan B.
It's a plan B.
Yeah. How can nutrigenomics help in the prevention of chronic diseases such as diabetes or cardiovascular diseases?
This is a very interesting and crucial question, because the diabetes of type 2, also of cardiovascular diseases, they are so-called multifactorial diseases. So there are many different factors and many different genes which play a role in the final result. So the strategy is already to distinguish from which source problem is coming. Is it cardiovascular risk, which is related to salt regulation genes or to stress regulation genes? Is it the diabetes due to high sugar sensitivity or due to serotonin decrease and the lack of serotonin? Because the latter provokes high appetite and person eats non-stop, often like that, etc. So this is the first source to define. And the second would be to give the correct therapy. So in case of high sensitivity to sugar, there should be specific regulators used. And here we shouldn't really forget of the food with low glycemic index. It's very important. For example, there is a big difference between strawberries and, for example, watermelon, which is extremely high in sugar. So it cannot be recommended compared to strawberries or other berries which have very low glycemic index. Regarding sugar-sensitive regulating genes. The other thing is for serotonin, for example, we should use the inductors of serotonin production. What it is, the food rich in L-tryptophan. Interestingly, potatoes are very rich in tryptophan. Of course, you know that black chocolate is very rich, but also bananas. So the second step, and very important point, will be when you have to consume this food in order to chronobiologically produce correct quantity of serotonin and not to put on weight, and how to combine products. So the story is multidimensional and interactive. And this is the key word, that we have to take into account not only simple genes or simple products, but the way of interactions. And all currently new genetics is the story of interactions between our genes and our environment, biological, psychological, etc. And biological, what practically means food, is the most important, and the biggest one. And the biggest ones is the high power. The power is neutral, and this force is neutral, but the way how you use it would be crucial. So, and this is the role of nutrigenomics, how influence our genes, the expression they work. Regarding nutrigenetics, the story is more simple. It's the story about sensitivity to what our genes are sensitive or insensitive. It also may happen. For example, everybody of you knows the story about lactose. And indeed, this is the mutation. This is not polymorphism. This is the mutation in the lactose gene, which make us sensitive to lactose. So automatically, for these people, lactose is not good. It's not digestive simply. So you have to avoid lactose-contained products. It means all animal milk, not only cow milk, all type of animal milk. But you can use, of course, alternative milk coming from plants source where we don't have lactose. So this is a simple example regarding nutrigenetics. And I would like to highlight that application of nutrigenomics, it's much higher and diversible and really unlimited compared to simply nutrigenetics when we take about gene sensitivity.
Wow, amazing. Thank you very much, Elena. And we are so lucky today interview you, Professor Elena. And I remember your father is the world famous scientist. You are the 5th generation. And Professor Vladislav Baranov is our advisor in the World Council of Stem Cell. Very, very full of spirit. And he's a father of genetic and epigenetic. Elena, Professor Elena, I have a next question. What recent advances in genomics have had a significant impact on the field of personalized nutrition?
Well, all nutrition ideally should be personalized. And
Yes.
what globally is the source of health. And interestingly, there is nothing new. Hippocrates was saying the same. He was saying, tell me what you eat and I will tell you what you are. So Currently, we can say the same, absolutely the same, but with scientific basis, you know.
Yes.
We have some
Absolutely.
improvements. So every day, and this is very important, we have to use this knowledge in order to keep our health. But I would like to go a bit further from nutrigenetic and nutrigenomics, because if you look at the gene expression story and the DNA story, what is the purpose somehow of our meeting today, so we can say that DNA is what you have, RNA is what you might be, and protein, so the final result of gene expression, what we find in your blood when making biochemical tests, is what you really are. So what you have done with the genes and gene expression. So this is the final result. But today, in our 21st century, the century of not simple diseases and simple interactive factors, but the century of multiple syndromes, the story becomes more dimensional and complicated. Because when we talk about nutrigenetics, food, and health, we must also remember microbiome story. And microbiome, which represents roughly 300 trillion bacteria living at the 100 trillion cells of our intestinal tract. It's the square of tennis court, by the way. That's what we have inside. Also has incredible, huge impact at our health, which cannot be neglected. So, and the most successful results we are getting when we take into account the microbiome plus your gene expression, what you do with your genes, and your other peculiarities regarding, for example, your lifestyle. Is it sedentary, or you travel a lot and it's sedentary as well, or you're making a lot of sport, or you need to lose weight? How much do you sleep? Because if you don't sleep enough, your leptin production will be high independently on your genes, you know. Or I should better say that your genes will produce a lot of leptin. So in this case, whatever genotype you have. So all these factors should be and must be taken into account. So the programs and the real recommendations are integrative. So this knowledge must be integrated if you want to have the real result, the real health. I'll give you the simple example. Very common situation. Patient, 40 plus, has already a little weight increase and can't lose weight. The genetic analysis has been done. It was seen that the person is sensitive to sugar and also to stress. And it has been recommended to this person to eat like 6 times per day in order to regulate insulin, you know. But it's like, you know, it's like a quest, because after it you open the other side of the picture and you see that the person has the syndrome of high bacterial growth microbiome. So if you eat 6 times per day with very good intention to regulate your insulin, your microbiome will double, triple, etc. So you'll have bloating, you will have uncontrolled appetite because microbiome wants to eat, bacteria wants to eat. And instead of getting positive result of this insulin regulation genetic story, you will have opposite result. The person will be nervous, bloating, putting on weight, and the patient will tell you nothing works. That is why it's very important to combine and to adapt the recommendations to person peculiarities. Very important. And it is one of the basic criteria of evidence-based medicine. Please remember, evidence-based medicine is not limited to science. There are three big positions: scientific data, but patient peculiarities, very important, and doctor competence, doctor knowledge and skills, how to apply things in each particular case. This is regarding the definition of evidence-based medicine. It's not the imagination, it's the truth. So the big message of the day, don't limit your vision, be at least minimum 3D visional person, at least. Better, more. And take into account the interactivity.
To see the whole picture. Yeah.
Very well said.
We remind you that we are interviewing Professor Dr. Elena Baranova. She is Doctor in Medicine, MD, PhD, HDR, European Union Commission expert for genomics for life sciences, biotechnology, health, and personalized medicine. President of European Institute in Personalized Prevention and Health, Monaco, and she is a successful entrepreneur. If you're enjoying this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at 5P Podcast and follow Professor Dr. Elena Baranova's work on his social media at Baranova Monaco.
And going deeper in that regard, what benefits does personalized nutrition based on genetic profiles offer?
Well, personalized nutrition based on genetic profiles offers you the right choice from the early beginning of what you have to do, but in particular, what you should not do, because the latter is even more important. Persons who are conscious about what they should not do are usually more healthy than the others who are learning from biohackers, from everybody, what they should do. So this is life lesson. So globally, it helps to reduce your risks, in particular, the risks of environmentally induced cancers, for example. And this is a tremendous, amazing, and lovely story. Why so? Because usually people forget, even doctors forget. Yesterday again, I had a patient with totally crazy recommendations because the generalist forgot about this simple thing, that all cancers are divided in two main groups globally: inherited and non-inherited. And that non-inherited cancers represent between 85 and 96% of all cancers regarding the type of cancer. Moreover, we develop non-inherited cancers, environmentally induced cancers, at the second part of our life, at the life after 40, and usually after 45 and later, not before, because and what about inheritance and the genetically dependent cancers? They are, fortunately, there is a small amount, and they develop at age before 40, usually around 30. And this is a small group, very particular, with particular criteria. But now here today, when we are talking about real genetic profiles for health, etc., is the prevention and, first of all, anti-cancer prevention. Why so? because we can establish in a very precise way what is your or the person's biotransformation and detox capacities. Because all environmentally induced cancers, and I reminded between 85 and 96%, they are based on this story. Your biotransformation, your regulation, because between two phases of phase 1 activation of toxic products coming into the body and phase 2 is globally biotransformation, phase 2 is detox. So it is genetically determined. I don't like the word determined, but here this is the case. And our detox genes are so important that nature kept their structure through many evolutionary steps. Look at this beautiful Deby, fantastic Deby. She's sitting with the fantastic, beautiful flowers behind her. Can you see these flowers? So these wonderful flowers that have exactly the same structure of glutathione transferase genes, which is the main source of detox. Can you imagine that we share the same genes with the flowers? Because this detox source is so important, that the structure stayed the same through evolution, and it's the crucial basis of our sensitivity. And you know what? We can regulate it, because once we know the structure, somehow we know what you have, what you are driving. The little electric mini car or Ferrari, you know, we know how to, which speed to adopt, when you have to restore your potential in order to continue the road in the safe way. There are persons with 30% of decrease of detox. You can say, wow, 30% of decrease. It represents about 50% of population. 50%, the half of population, because the people are usually divided. I am talking about the whole world. After if we go to different countries and the different races, it varies, but globally, that's it. In fact, this person automatically, the half of population of the earth is more sensitive to tobacco smoke, to benzopyrene, and to other type of pollution, much more than the other half, etc., etc. So genetically, we can establish your sensitivity profile, what to avoid, but it is only a little part. The most interesting part, how to work with your source, how to induce your force, how to join, connect you to your potential, what you represent. And now I have also some very good news for somebody who doesn't want to make genetic profile, and it particularly concerns the persons who are plus 35, 40. Because, guys, everybody of us has a decline of gene activity after 35. So, in fact, what practically means that after 35, you can do genetic profile for detox or other regulation processes. But we know already that it is decreased, even if you have 100 from 100 perfect activity from the birth. So we have to activate it. So regarding detox, there are specific measures which could be done and should be done in everybody at age after 35, using nutrigenomics. I remind you that is the science, how influence our genes in order to optimize and increase and at least optimize our gene expression. Genetic profiles, however, have additional role because they can help us to distinguish, for example, stress-sensitive persons from the persons who have mostly the tool for predisposed for water retention, for example.
Yeah.
Or very important genetic impact concerns clot formation. And because this is one of the crucial reasons of practically immediate death or very quick death in terms of thrombosis and everything, and clot formation is genetically a very sensitive story, and I have such patients whom we could fortunately protect from very severe consequences because the genetic profile was done, and we saw that the person had extremely high risk of clot formation and atherosclerosis development. And it was one quite important businessman and politician, and we sent him directly from our consultation to cardiologists. The guy was 50 years at the time. And they made a cardio checkup, and they saw that his coronary arteria were practically blocked. So he had immediately operation for stent, So in order to open his coronary arteria and to make the blood flow come back to the heart, etc. It was a real concrete case, and it was more than 15 years ago. So you imagine, it was already available quite a long time ago. So, and again, once more, we have to profit correctly from science and bring it to practice. And this is our major goal as specialists.
Okay, so what challenges you face in implementing nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics in clinical practice?
Well, it's very well explained in the citation of one of my favorite authors, like Mark Twain. He was saying that it's very easy to stop smoking. I did it 100,000 times. So the real challenge is how to adopt the recommendations. How to adopt the recommendations to the taste of the person, to his way or her way to be, how to make people comfortable. Because it doesn't make sense at all. Tell people, eat green vegetables, drink water. Usually they will ask you, is I'm going to live long time now? And you have to say, no, I don't know, but you will feel that it's really very long, So it's not the person, it's not the purpose, because we can bring pleasure to our life. We have to bring pleasure. So we have to adopt, and I always do it, nutrigenetic and nutrigenomic recommendations to your habits, lifestyle, taste, such sort of things. That's why micronutrition approach, when, for example, a person tell you, I don't like tomatoes, I don't want to eat tomatoes, or he may be simply allergic to tomatoes, or might have leaky gut syndrome, so tomatoes are not allowed. So in this case, what to do? So we bring micronutritional approach for gene regulation, which is the guarantee that whatever person do finally, we will be able to drive his gene or her gene expression to the right sense, because we're using therapeutic concentrations of active ingredients, and we know that it must be done like during 2 months, because 2 months is necessary period to change definitely in a good way, in optimal way, your gene expression. So, so the second challenge will be that the person have to take it, But usually they do. Usually they do, even the most stubborn. Why so? because they see the improvements. And it works like the best motivation. Actually, I have a lot of men, not only women, but men in my practice as patients. And it's easier to work with men because they integrate this concept in their everyday life the same way how they deal with their business. So there is no hesitation. Once they understood that it works, they do it perfectly well. So I have quite a few young boys of 60 years old, and more, but their biological age is like about 38. We have also the similar results with women, of course. And I have to mention that today we cannot separate genes from our body or brain from our body or hormones from our body. So it must be interactive. It's interactive and integrative. You should take into account different parameters if you like to succeed. You can regulate as much as you want insulin resistant genes, but if you don't treat hypothyroidosis, you would never get the result. So must be integrative way to proceed. Very important.
Thank you, Elena. And I want to discuss about something, which is, I think, I already started with you like 12 or 15 years ago, which is the haute couture prevention program. And it's really feel good, change what we feel, because the plan B, we talk about plan B. Oh, don't drink coffee, it's toxic. But Professor Elena have the plan B. So I can keep drink my coffee and the personalized medicine. So personally, I will not want to miss this opportunity today, Elena, to ask you and to share to our audience of P Podcast about your haute couture prevention Baranova program. Could you tell us what it consists of and what product you have, so we can have plan B, still enjoy life, good healthy lifestyle, but we can enjoy this healthy life, our nutrigenomics with your haute couture prevention program?
Thank you, Deby. Indeed, I used to work a lot to develop this concept, which is now regrouped under my own brand, Baranova Monaco, and officially authorized by Monaco to use the name of the country together with my own name. And thank you, Monaco, as well. Thank you, our World Council, and you, and people with whom I have pleasure to work and share this knowledge. The concept is the following. My programs are based on the principle that first we induce DNA expression, we work with DNA level. Then it has impact on physical level, so we work with physical level, including hormonal regulation. It brings impact on upper mental level, so we work a lot with mental capacities, etc. And all it brings us to increased emotional level, positive emotional level, because finally that's what people are searching for, consciously and unconsciously, are to be happy and positive emotions. And interestingly, this positive emotional level go back to DNA and induces DNA again. So it's like a circle. So we put on place in each person this type of the circle and this type of activity. And moreover, I am happy to observe in my practice patients of different years, from not yet born up to 97, so there is no age because I care also about families, different generations. And I can tell you that I saw people who are 60 plus who fell in love and their gene expression increases immediately. And for example, the HA production, the hormone of youth, increases immediately. So it's amazing. But to achieve this level and to have forces to fall in love, you have to be in a good shape and health because it must have your own potential to share, to go further. That's very important. So it's always interactive. It's also integrative. So globally, all what you need is love and good gene activity. So that's the concept.
Thank you.
Let's make our genes work for you. So.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And is there anything you would like to share with anyone who is listening to us and who wants to learn more about how to improve their health through nutrition?
How I improve the health of nutrition, or how can you repeat it? To share anyone who is listening, how improve their health through nutrition?
Yes, is someone who is listening to us?
There are some. Again, we can say a lot about what to do, but let's talk about what we should not do, because there are somehow criteria what not to do. So if you like to keep your health through nutrition, first and gene regulation together, first what you have to do is reduce your calories. It's extremely important. It's scientific data. It's not the way to talk or to chat. It's been proven scientifically by physicians that when you reduce your calorie intake at least twice, your bioenergetical fields doubled. They become bigger. Because people forgot somehow to tell you that what is food? Food is energy, is the source of energy. But we are also taking energy not only from food. We are open systems. So we are also, like plants, like the others, we are taking energy from sun and from other environment, So, interestingly, it's a biophysical fact of quantum physics. You decrease your calories, you divide it by 2, you increase your bioenergetical fields because body starts to get this extra energy from sun, from environment, etc. Calorie reduce is one of the rare factors which has been proved to increase the lifespan, definitely. So this is very important first recommendation. In particular important in our genetically modified world, genetically modified food. Have to be conscious about it. So the second thing, what is extremely important in your everyday life, when you go to buy food, please choose gluten-free bread. It would be much better. This is good for everybody. You have or you don't have gluten intolerance. It will be, in both cases, very profitable. Now we have the big choice of gluten-free bread. It's easy. The good way to cook it, to make toasts, when it's a bit dry, when it is toasted, you cannot feel the difference regarding the taste. Is it gluten-free or not? But your body will feel the difference, because gluten, unfortunately, affects a lot intestinal transit, and it is sticky. It sticks the cells inside, and it provokes infections and many other things. The older we are, the more we have this problem. And the third rule, very important for everybody, please replace cow milk products by non-cow milk products. It can be goat or sheep if you don't have lactose intolerance, or alternative milk, any alternative milk. You will decrease up to 30% your different risks of hormonally induced cancers and hormonally dependent diseases and inflammation, because one of the biggest mechanisms of diseases, cancer, multifactorial diseases, cardio risk, obesity, etc., is inflammation. And of course, aging depends on inflammation. So you must to decrease inflammatory factors. And cow milk products, unfortunately, current cow milk products in particular, significantly contribute to inflammation because the proteins of cow milk is totally different. The molecules are very different from human molecules and provokes a lot of allergic reactions, etc., and mechanism and intolerances, which are not genetic originally, but still extremely important. Extremely important. And of course, talking about our genes and our source of use and beauty, please remember that the best and the biggest and the main inductor of glutathione transferase gene expression, what practically means detox activation, so your defense capacities, is lycopene. So when you take lycopene-contained products, you automatically produce big defense and protect your body from different type of cancers, from aging, and from cardiovascular risk, because it decreases also atherosclerosis capacities. So I love a lot this approach when one molecule can sort out different problems. So these are very simple advice to respect. And to add, please take vitamin D on a permanent basis. It reduces your cancer risk twice. And of course, if you want to go further, you're welcome to our highly personalized programs, very intensive, very active, which would help you to keep not only your health, but to develop and bring back your drive. So you're welcome.
That's important.
Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you.
Professor Elena, I would love to ask about the mechanism of action of your Baranova Monaco supplements. Of course, as your patient also, I understand and I know, but our audience, P-Podcast, want to know this wonderful Baranova Monaco supplements, haute couture, who can change our life, to move the drive, become young again, how they work.
Thank you, Deby, for this question. In fact, it was born from my work with my patients, also from my students who are the doctors, because when Nutrigenetics and Nutrigenomics was born, it was about 2000, roughly. With the finalization of Human Genome Project in 2003. And now we it's like when you looks like you blended up and suddenly the eyes are open. So you know how the molecules work, how they influence your body, the processes. Wow, what to do, what to eat. And we have two very important parameters. We have quality parameters, so we know which molecule or which product influenced what, but there is a question of quantity. How much I should eat of this and that in order to get therapeutic results? And in order to get therapeutic results in a woman of 30 years old and 55 kilos and a man of 100 kilos and 60 years old, these are two different stories, And the quantity of food to get the molecules, active molecules, antioxidants, could be different. If we count in these molecules, it could be like you should give 5 kilos of raspberries and 10 kilos of green vegetables. It's crazy. Of course, it's not possible. That's how micronutritional approach in gene regulation was born. That's how I have created our products, which have highly individual particular formulas. Moreover, we wanted to make it beautiful, so our capsules are personalized, and we have beautiful design, but also very healthy design, because we don't use toxic ingredients in our capsule composition. So, the quantity of active products in each capsule is therapeutic. So it's enough, one capsule is enough to induce this or that process. It depends what we influence in different persons of different ages. And we have specific protocols which have particular lengths, Something should be taken for 2 months, something should be taken for 3 months. But it depends on the case or the story. But in all cases, it works. Because, the real secret, which everybody knows, but people don't think. People talk about nutrition, about whatever. But the real request today is the chronic fatigue. If people are searching how to deal with this chronic fatigue, how to improve. So that's why they're searching for nutrition, for other sources, and how to induce. And sometimes they're doing correct things, but the concentration of active molecules is not enough at all. So they would never achieve positive results. So this approach helps to do it. And also, I would like to highlight that we don't use multivitamins. Multivitamins are globally toxic for liver. I saw and I see a lot of adverse reactions with multivitamins, which are available in each supermarket. This is not good. This is really already scientifically proven many times. So we are using specific combinations of active molecules, which would definitely and in a reliable way improve your health and change your gene expression in the positive way. This is the story.
Thank you
very much.
Well,
Thank you.
it's wonderful, Elena. It's really good to have the personalized haute couture supplement from the expert. It's long life scientific word from the 5th generation, Professor Elena Baranova. We interviewed today. She's a doctor in medicine, MD, PhD, HDR, European Union Commission expert for genomic of life science, biotechnology, health, and personalized medicine. She also president of WOCPM of Monaco, Monte Carlo, president of European Institute in Personalized Prevention and Health Monaco, and she's successful entrepreneur. And I can hear today, Sandra and Professor Carlos, it's very safe to combine this personalized medicine with other anti-aging, regenerative therapy, quantum stem cell, or hormonal restoration with this Baranova haute couture personalized supplement. Thank you very much, Elena.
My pleasure. Everything is available at our site, baranovamonaco.com, so you can use it. And
Thank you.
if you need some extra material, photos, whatever, I can send you some photos or
and
videos.
you can share. Thank you. And you can share in the next Congress in Bali, 8 to 10 November. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, darlings.
Thank you for listening and supporting this initiative. We invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel at 5P Podcast. If you want to learn how to make a successful podcast, subscribe to @Wavesmith Studios on YouTube. See you next time, and remember, take care of yourself today to defy time tomorrow.